We all know that Return of the Jedi was going to be called Revenge of the Jedi, and most of the merchandise planned for release had to be changed, but some things did get released. Let's take a look at Revenge of the Jedi merchandise that did get released. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming at you with another video. Sorry, sometimes I just need a change. It gets boring just sitting at this same table talking about the same old stuff. There we go. That's a little better. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, you already know because of the title and the teaser. We're going to look at Revenge of the Jedi merchandise that did get released. Now, before you say it, no, you didn't buy any Kenner action figures that said Revenge of the Sith on the card. Now, you may have gotten some Empire Strikes Back figure with a free offer for Admiral Akbar with the Revenge of the Jedi written on it. Why not do air quotes? I hate doing that. I had a girlfriend back in the early 90s that used to do it, and I just hadn't stopped since then, and every time I do it, I cringe at myself. Sorry, I'll try not to do this anymore. But let's get back to the topic, and not to some girl I dated back in the early 90s. If you have a Star Wars figure on a Revenge of the Jedi card, you just got yourself what we call a reproduction. Now, some of the cards did get out there in collectors' hands, but they were never sold at stores. But we're here to talk about what did get released, not what didn't get released. And I did a whole video on the Kenner Revenge of the Jedi cards. So let's get back to talking about what did get into stores. Well, before I start talking about that, I'm going to say I'm not going to talk about cast and crew items. Now, when they were making Revenge of the Jedi, a lot of the cast and crew had shirts and everything. And there is a lot of cast and crew stuff that has the name Revenge of the Jedi on it. We're not going to look at that. That might be good for a video coming up. But again, we're looking at a released item. So let's start with two things you could pick up. If you were a member of the Star Wars fan club, you could pick up these two Revenge of the Jedi items. The first is a Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi patch. That's right, if you had a hole in your blue jeans, you could patch it up with this Revenge of the Jedi patch. If you were anything like my arch nemesis, Jimbo Showers, he loved to put buttons on his blue jean jacket. He could have got a Revenge of the Jedi button to put on that stupid, ugly jacket. Of course, by the time costumes came out for Return of the Jedi in 1983, the movie had already went through the title change and already been released, so changing the box was no problem. But inside, the costume itself, that was a bigger problem. They didn't have the time to go back and fix that. So items like a Gamorrean Guard, a Clay 2, their belt buckle on the smock, that's right, some reason they have the Star Wars logo on their belt buckle. Don't remember that in the movie, but the belt buckle says Revenge of the Jedi. And the box, like I said, did get changed to Return of the Jedi. Now, I don't know if this fits into released merchandise, but in 1982 there was a convention and Lucasfilm was there to promote Revenge of the Sith, and they used this big sign that said Revenge of the Sith. Here it is right here. See? At the top, it doesn't say Return, it says Revenge. Now, we talked about Kenner didn't release figures on a card that said Revenge of the Sith, but if you picked up Micro Machines or maybe some Star Wars toys in 1982, Kenner did put a little flyer inside that advertised the upcoming release of Revenge of the Sith. I did it again. This little flyer did promote the upcoming figures for Revenge of the Sith. There was no pictures of the figures, but the title was there for Revenge of the Sith. And by far the most famous Revenge of the Sith item released is probably the movie poster, and there's two different ones. There's one released with the movie date and one without the movie date. Now, these posters were sent out to the theaters. They wasn't just posters you could buy unless you had a hookup at the movie theater. And if you lived in France, there was a Revenge of the Sith banner. As you can see here, it would hang up in the movie theaters. And in 1982, 20th Century Fox was already starting to promote Revenge of the Jedi. And some of their catalogs and brochures that were sent to movie theaters had the name Revenge of the Sith. As you can see here, Fox was promoting Revenge of the Jedi. So what happened? Why did the name change? Well, people say, did you know the original title was Revenge of the Jedi? Well, that's not exactly true. The original title was Return of the Jedi. That's what Lucas came up with. But it was Vice President of Lucasfilm, Howard, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. I'll type it down here somewhere because I'm not going to try to say it because you'll let me know in the comments that I pronounced it wrong. So we'll just avoid all that. Anyway, somehow the Vice President of Lucasfilm got Lucas to change his mind. Something most people never had any luck doing. One of the reasons Howard felt that Revenge of the Jedi was better is because he didn't like Return of the Jedi because to him it reminded him of the movie Return of the Pink Panther. Don't know if that's a good reason to change a movie title or not, but like I said, Lucas agreed. But even months before the release of the film, Lucas still wasn't happy with that title. Revenge of the Jedi was filmed that it wasn't a Jedi's way to seek revenge. But was it just Lucas that felt like this? Well, they went to the people to find out. 324 random phone calls were placed asking people what do they prefer, Revenge of the Hero or Return of the Hero. And although most people said Revenge of the Hero was more exciting, that it just didn't feel like a thing a hero would do, seek revenge. So on December 17th, 1982, the title was changed back to Return of the Jedi, causing movie posters to have to be reprinted and merchandising companies to have to redo a lot of their merchandise. Part of that merchandise, over $250,000 worth of Kenner product had to be destroyed because it said Revenge of the Jedi. Hopefully that's just card backs. I hope they destroyed figures on the card. Hopefully they pulled the figures off and repackaged them. I hope so. Anyway, that's a look at some of the merchandise that got out into the field with Revenge. With Revenge of the Jedi written on it. Well, did you have any official merchandise that said Revenge of the Jedi? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thumb up to like my content, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk again soon. Time for me to go home.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.